Okay, what is up, YouTube? I'm probably gonna be re-uploading all my videos with new voiceover, but let's get right into this. So here I'm just trying to figure out what kind of base I want for this. As you might have seen at the beginning, I'm building a rocket turret for a starship, which I will eventually be building later on in the series. Right now, I'm just building elements which will go on the eventual starship. Here I'm just trying to line everything up and get everything looking the way I want it before I actually start to build the turret. I'm just trying to get the base right. And this section, I'm just trying to kind of figure out what I want the bottom, kind of the base of the turret to look like. The section between the turret and the turret and the base, just kind of that transition section. Yep, here I'm deleting everything because I realized it is wrong, so I'm trying to redo it because I realized that I need a flat surface to work off of. And here I am just redoing that section and making it with that little flat surface on top to make it so I can build up. And I'm just using the line tool to connect and make those little flat, kind of slightly rounded surfaces. And where am I now? Oh, yes. So here I'm building the kind of the rotating section off the top of the turret, or rather off the top of the base, which will transition into the actual turret. And I'm using the elevate tool to do this. Just pulling it up and putting in a value. Now I'm using the ellipse tool, or not the ellipse tool, I think it's called the expand tool, to create a larger form of the shape I just made. And now I'm just looking at it, and I realized it wasn't quite what I wanted, so I made it smaller. And then I'm making it slightly longer than it is wide, just to give it a bit more dimension. And here I'm bringing it up to create the 3D bit, which is going to be the actual turret. And just looking at it, trying to figure out what I want to do. And now I'm building, what am I doing here? Oh yes, I'm adding a bit more dimension to the top section by adding kind of an angled, kind of a sort of house shape to the top to give it a bit more dimension than it had before. And now I'm putting on the sections which will eventually become the mounts that connect that main base section to the rocket banks, which are going to be on the outside. And yep, here I'm just using the elevate tool to pull those out. And boy, I'm just realizing that this is really low quality. Hopefully I'll be able to record in higher qualities soon. Here I'm just trying to build a section off so I can build the rocket banks. And here I'm just trying to decide what shape I want the rocket banks. I'm using the polygon tool, and I'm trying to decide between a hexagon and a octagon. I can't quite decide which, but I finally decide on a hexagon because I just thought it looked a bit better than the octagon. And here I'm just elevating it out, and that isn't the best, but it looks pretty cool. I'm just elevating the mount so it clips into the rocket tube. And I mean, that does cause clipping, but it looks pretty cool, and it's a nice smooth transition, and it's pretty easy to do. So, all of these, everything I'm doing here is actually pretty simple and pretty easy to do. So, here I'm using the resize, ellipse, something like that tool to just make a smaller version of the hexagon. And now I'm building what will eventually become the actual tubes that the rockets are sitting in. And yeah, so now I'm just deleting all those guidelines so they're out of my way, because I do not like guidelines, though I do suggest when you're doing stuff on Sketchup, only erase stuff at the end, because I tend to erase stuff early, and I end up needing the guidelines and stuff, and I end up screwing myself over. Yeah, here I'm just trying to build the rocket and transitioning. Yeah, basically I'm just using the line tool to go all the way around from that one point all the way to the edges of the circle to create a cone shape, and that's going to be the actual rocket. And it's not going to be detachable or anything, but it's just going to look cool, and it's going to look like the nose of a rocket. There you can kind of see it. It's sticking out beyond the end of the tube, and it just looks much better than before. And here I'm just using the select tool, and I'm copy pasting into the next section, but hey, I grabbed a section off the back of my ship, and here I'm just trying to fix that, just grabbing it, and it happens again. So I just delete that section, and here I'm just going to copy paste that piece up there, because hopefully that'll work. Yep, and there it goes in the rocket tube, and Control V, and I realized that I hadn't re-copy pasted, if you can understand that. So now I'm just trying to get it into a position on the edge where I can actually physically line it up with the inside of the tube so it's flush, and we don't have any clipping or sections like that, because that's very annoying. So now I'm just repeating the same thing on the other side, just ellipsing in the circles and elevating them down and backwards into the shape, and then copy pasting the rocket tube. So hopefully soon I'll start working on the actual starship. If you are watching this, I've got 4 other parts which I'm going to voice over on. I haven't got voiceovers on them yet, but I will pretty soon. And then I just got a new software for recording, so hopefully we can get higher quality, and hopefully we can start working on it soon. I've got a few more things to make. I'm thinking of making like hangar doors and something like that, and like a comms array, just before I actually start working on the ship. And any suggestions you have, feel free to leave them in the comment section. Here I decided to put in a center rocket on the rocket banks, because I thought it just kind of looked cooler and added a bit more, I don't know, dimension to the ship. And I don't know, it just looks cooler. Looks a lot better. And I just deleted that guide, and now it looks a bit empty, I decided. So here I decided to build, like, I don't know what it is. It's either like a gun, or it could be, I suppose you could call it like a laser designator or something that it's building off of, that's coming off of the front of the rocket. And I'm just using the elevate tool to elevate a circle out to create a barrel. And now I'm using the ellipse or extend tool. I really have to figure out what that's called. The ellipse or extend tool to just build kind of an out rim, and then I'm going to elevate that out. And that gives it kind of the dimension, and like, I don't know what those are called, but it's like the tip of the muzzle on a gun. It's a bit bigger. It gives the gun barrel a bit more dimension, and you can really add some pretty cool stuff on those. And here I'm done, so I'm painting it. And here's one of the touches, is just figuring out what color everything should be. And then I just realized that I need to erase a bunch of guidelines, so that's what I'm doing. And I'm using the control erase. So if you erase at the same time you're hitting control, it won't erase the line, it will just hide it and smooth the surfaces it's connected to, and it looks really cool and it looks really nice, and that's what I'm using on here. And it just gives like the rockets a nice smooth look. And I'm just deleting all the guidelines on there, and yeah, now we're moving on to painting. And we're painting, I usually use 2 colors. I use like a detail color and then a bulk color. And for the entire starship, the detail color is going to be this red. And basically the idea there is, like, the rockets and the muzzle tip's going to be red, and a few other accents are going to be red. And then the rest is going to be a dark gray. That color gray, and it's going to look pretty good, I hope. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So Feel free to like or comment if you enjoyed. I'm just scaling it up to give it a bit more dimension. And once again, likes, comments, all those are great.